Rafael Dos Anjos has pulled out of UFC 196 with a suspected broken foot, which has forced him to remove himself from the competition now. So according to multiple sources, Dos Anjos suffered a broken left foot last Friday, forcing him to pull out of the lightweight title fight against McGregor. The Brazilian was hoping that the injury would get better, but apparently it did not. So Jason, we are now in a very similar dilemma. It's happened before.
It's deja vu all over again, or deja vu, also known as a glitch in the Matrix.
Also known as a strip club in LA.
Is it? Why do you know that?
You see it everywhere.
Oh, you see it everywhere. You ever go there?
I think it's more of a franchise across America, not just LA.
It's deja vu, but according to multiple sources, there's really only 2 fighters at this point that would step up and take on that challenge. A couple sources said it's got to be Nate Diaz or Donald Cerrone.
Yeah.
A lot leaning towards Cerrone. At first, it was, oh my God, Frankie Edgar. Edgar gets his title shot. Edgar gets a title shot, or an interim title shot. No, Edgar, I think, already stated that he will not be subbing in.
They have to be 100. They have to be at the 170-pound mark, right?
That too.
And
but that was like the big Twitter outbreak. It was like, yeah, Frankie Edgar, woo! So
it's your time, Frankie.
Cerrone, again, I think we're in the same position, and no, I'm not going to do the Chad Mendes thing and be like, bet on Donald Cerrone because Chad Mendes is the toughest challenge he's going to get. No, I'm done betting on anybody except Conor McGregor at this point in my life. But this is kind of another blow to the head, if you will, because I wanted to see RDA versus Conor McGregor, just like I wanted to see Aldo versus McGregor. Although 196 should still be a great card, and we'll still get to see McGregor fight. And at this point, I just want to see McGregor being tested by all these different types of fighters because they all bring a different style of fighting with them. Yes. And I think this benefits Conor McGregor because you see more and different styles of fighters, so he's going to become better with more experience, you would think. And now it's just like another warm-up match against, eventually will be, it's not like Dos Anjos is actually running and hiding. Yeah. He can't run, his foot's broken. It's not wheelchairing and hiding.
Even if you said to McGregor, he's broke his neck's hanging, and you showed him a picture, his neck is hanging, Conor, I'd be like, nah, I wouldn't want to fight me either.
When I look in the mirror,
that was the best
I get a little scared
I get a little scared of myself, I'm a machine. And you cannot fault the guy for being one of the best self-promoters we've ever seen. And he has a right to say this because it has happened. Aldo, we know, has pulled out of fights before, so it wasn't a rarity for McGregor. But I might disagree with you on one point. I think that it does help him in terms of his confidence because he sees these fighters, whatever their circumstance, pull out. But I think that he has to adjust his training style now because every fighter trains. They train for their own strength, their own endurance, but they also train to try and counteract what their opponent's good at. So what Dos Anjos is good at is not necessarily the same as what maybe Cowboy Cerrone will be good at. So he now has to adjust his training. Now, McGregor is very adaptable. He can do that. And the one thing I do like about this potential fight is there's bad blood between Donald Cerrone and McGregor. They do not like each other one bit. Donald Cerrone has stated that he hates McGregor, he hates his attitude, blah, blah, blah. They had that argument in the UFC conference. Remember the big one where he was behind him and he kept saying something about McGregor being a leprechaun and McGregor was like, yeah!
Yeah, bad blood like Taylor Swift bad blood?
Potentially. Yeah. Don't know if it's up to that standard. Not Kanye West, but it's up there.
Not stealing the mic from Taylor Swift, Kanye West bad blood. All right, so in addition to that, so I think we have a couple elements for everybody here that we can run through. I think the second one is it says RDA out is how I labeled it. I think this was the first. I woke up to this morning to my phone, the definition of blowing up. Yes. Because UFC updates from Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report sends me 30 million a day.
And we have great fans who update us as well. Did you see Dos Anjos is out? Did you see Dos Anjos is out?
No, we didn't. It didn't pass through our feed. Jokes, of course. So the first element we have is number 2, Mizurma. There we go. Report Rafael Dos Anjos out of Conor McGregor's fight at UFC 196 with broken foot. And we can just roll through these because the second tweet we have, I believe, is in terms of Anthony Pettis, who also, another guy that we forgot to mention. So Coach Duke Rufus said, Showtime Pettis said, put me in, coach. Francis, put me in, coach is it's a lyric from a song.
Is it from a song or is it not from a movie?
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Oh, I thought it was from
Today.
I thought it was from Ace Ventura and he's in the mental. It's a joke.
Put me in, coach.
I'm ready to go in, coach.
So Pettis responded with, of course, he wants to get that fight. I'm down to throw down.
Well, this would be, if I was a UFC fighter, I would have been the first one out there as well because everyone knows McGregor hit the nail on the head once again. He's the gate. He's the money. He's what everyone wants to fight. So it's smart. And one thing I do want to disclose that we didn't mention is Frankie Edgar's injured.
Right, that's why.
Sorry. Edgar's injured. But nonetheless.
That didn't stop the internet from saying, give him a shot.
But we missed one. Well, we did say it, but we didn't talk
Nate
about
Diaz.
it much. Diaz he talked about how much he wanted to.
So that's where this comes in. At Pendra with Dos Anjos out, the only guys I can see taking that fight on 11 days' notice are Nate Diaz and Cerrone. Probably have to be at 170 also. So yeah, Nate Diaz is another guy out there. Again, the heavy favorite at this point has to be Cerrone.
I think it is, and I mean,
put Jose Aldo back in there.
There's a double. It's a double-edged sword.
Carb load.
Yeah, because you see Aldo stopping by every Jack in the Box. Like, fuck this, I need to work out.
You went with Jack in the Box with all of the options.
Because you might get a salad with it.
But you went to Jack. Like, there's In-N-Out Burger that is so much better. Do we have to do the rankings? It's another clip. Top 5 fast food.
You're not even from the West Coast.
Doesn't matter. And by the way, it's a good week for Conor McGregor because on top of all the self-promotion, Sports Illustrated threw him on the cover. What I find so amazing about this cover, by the way, is McGregor, according to Sports Illustrated, which I kind of agree with, and this is just a personal belief, not probably a national belief, the Daytona 500 is the biggest race in NASCAR, I believe, every year, and it gets the little corner while Conor McGregor front and center.
He's the front and center of the sport, and that's why again, to reiterate, he's going to be the gate, and that's why I mentioned if I was Cerrone, there's two sides of it. I can only think the money side and the exposure.
Right.
Like if I fight Conor McGregor, I mean, one thing that I do agree with our EP Dan about is if Conor McGregor was to lose, it fucks everything up. It messes everything up. If he loses, like I'm sure Dana White was literally not creaming his pants because that would be the good side, but he was caking his pants with the other stuff when he saw Mendes take down McGregor the first few rounds because he might be thinking, oh no, this is going to mess up Aldo.
Look, anything could happen. You got to continue. Oh, the thing with like UFC and being a champion of the UFC is you have to defend your titles. You have to be, and if you're going to jump a weight class, you have to be able to win at that division as well. But what's amazing about Dana White and the UFC is how quickly these turnarounds are. Yeah. It started. I mean, recent history says Ronda Rousey, like just thrown through fight after fight after fight, and now it's McGregor. Really wondering at this point who's after McGregor. Who's going to, at some point, the throne will be open for who should be the number one pound-for-pound fighter. And by the way, in other UFC news that's exciting if you're around this weekend, Anderson Silva's fighting. Which I know he's old, I know he's like 40, but still exciting.
Still, you get that novelty factor. You want to see him fight.
We'll do a recap, I think, on Monday of that.
You want to see him.
It should be good. Anything else, Maxwell?
No, I just think I think for Dana White, I think he's either going to get everything he wanted again in McGregor winning.
Do you mean Dan White?
Remember that? That was early days. Called him Dan White. Had my bow tie on a platter. He's either going to get everything he wanted by McGregor winning again and setting up another huge card, or it could all come crumbling down. But we will see. Who do you guys want to see fight? Do you want to see Cerrone? Do you want to see Nate Diaz?
UFC 200.
UFC 220.
RDA
Francis
versus
Maxwell.
Conor McGregor.
I'm going to start training.
It's going to be a big deal because it's an even 200.
Like the Copa America Centenario.
Yeah, it's a beautiful name.
It's cool. I can't say it.
All right, that's all we got.
Subscribe button. It goes a long way.